In an age when philosophers filled scrolls with grand theories and citizens filled temples with prayers for fortune, Diogenes lived with nothing but a cloak and a cause, to live according to nature and nothing else. He was not a theorist hidden in a library, but a living doctrine, a man who tested his ideas not on parchment, but in the world itself. To him, philosophy was not for discussion, but for embodiment. His sole concern was virtue, and virtue meant freedom from illusion, freedom from dependence, and freedom from lies. It was not a possession to be hoarded, but a way of being, a natural state reclaimed by stripping away everything that wasn't essential. To live according to nature is not to retreat to forests or abandon society entirely. It is to see with open eyes what is truly necessary and to discard the rest as distraction or deceit. Diogenes saw that men suffer not from lack of resources, but from the abundance of false needs. They build their lives chasing things that are not needed: money, fame, approval, reputation, even knowledge that bears no weight in the shaping of character. Diogenes believed that nature provides everything required for a good life. But men, in their delusion, invent burdens and call them necessities. He made of his own life a radical simplification. Shelter was found where there was shade, warmth was secured with the sun or a cloak, food was what could be begged or found, and pleasure was not to be pursued, but managed like a wild animal. If pain came, he endured it. If ridicule came, he welcomed it. If temptation came, he laughed in its face. He trained himself to need less, not to boast in suffering, but to prove that nothing external was necessary for the soul to remain upright. For Diogenes, to live by nature was to become invulnerable to fortune, immune to praise and blame, and indifferent to death. Virtue, in his view, had no dependence on law or culture. It did not require a state, a temple, a philosophy school, or a judge. A virtuous man could exist with or without citizenship, with or without instruction, even with or without shelter. The laws of the city were to him secondary to the law of nature, the truth embedded in all things before custom corrupted it. He rejected the idea that morality must be taught by authority. Instead, he believed it had to be recovered, dug out from beneath the rubble of tradition, religion, and pride. It was there, within every person, waiting to be revealed by honest living. Diogenes' virtue was raw and uncompromising. He never courted favor or softened his speech to gain an audience. He spat on those who mistook knowledge for wisdom and mocked those who thought virtue could be taught like arithmetic. He lived his message with such consistency that even those who despised him could not accuse him of hypocrisy. When asked what he had learned from philosophy, he answered, "To be self-sufficient." When told not to behave like a dog, he replied, "It is better to be a dog who lives by nature than a man who lives by lies." In every gesture, Diogenes was attempting to return man to his true self, not the self shaped by fashion, fear, or institution, but the self that can stand naked before the world and say, "I lack nothing." That kind of selfhood is terrifying to most. It demands that one give up excuses, status, borrowed opinions, and the comfort of conformity. It requires one to strip down to what is real and stand firm in it, regardless of the cost. Diogenes paid that cost with joy, finding in his extreme simplicity not deprivation, but clarity. His message, though drowned in laughter and scandal, was a call to integrity. He did not preach self-abuse or suffering, but liberation from dependence. He asked, "Can you live without needing what enslaves others? Can you find peace not in the approval of men, but in the alignment of your life with what is true? Can you cast aside the ornaments of identity and still know who you are?" Diogenes believed you could. More than that, he believed you must, if you wanted to be free, if you wanted to be whole, if you wanted to be virtuous. In the end, Diogenes' life is a relentless challenge to the civilized world. It asks whether our so-called progress is anything but a polished form of servitude. It suggests that all the layers of culture may not elevate us, but bury us. And it reminds us, with brutal honesty, that virtue is not a performance or an opinion. It is a condition of being. Diogenes sought that condition with every breath, every gesture, and every act of rebellion. To live by nature is to live without compromise. To be virtuous is to need nothing but the truth. Diogenes lived this truth, even if it left him cold, hungry, and alone. And in doing so, he left behind a model of human freedom unspoiled by comfort, untouched by deceit, and unrivaled in its courage.